What happens when you trust the road, only to find the road itself is lying? We place our faith in asphalt, in the glowing blue line of a GPS, in the certainty that every highway leads to a documented somewhere. But the American wilderness is vast. It holds secrets older than our maps, pockets of isolation that technology has overlooked. Today, we tell the story of Arthur Vance, a man driving away from the noise of his own life, who took one wrong turn. He found a place that shouldn't exist, a town hidden in plain sight, living by the rules of a forgotten century. What would you do if you found it? And perhaps more importantly, what would they do with you? Arthur Vance wasn't lost. Not in the traditional sense. He was, however, running. Running from a silent apartment, a phone that never rang, and the lingering echo of a life that had abruptly flatlined. His drive into the remote mountains of West Virginia wasn't a vacation, it was an escape. The rain started just after dusk. Not a drizzle, but a sudden, violent deluge. The kind that turns dry creek beds into raging rivers within minutes. The sky was a bruised, angry purple. Wipers slapped uselessly against the wall of water. Then, ahead, a wall of red and blue flashing lights. A state trooper, shrouded in a glistening yellow poncho, flagged him down, his face barely visible. Roads gone, the trooper shouted over the storm. Flash flood took out the bridge up ahead. You're not getting through tonight. Arthur felt a familiar knot tighten in his stomach. Is there another way? A detour? The trooper hesitated, wiping rain from his face. Officially? No. You'd have to backtrack 50 miles. But. He pointed a heavy glove toward a narrow, unlit break in the trees. There's an old logging road. Gravelly trace, the locals call it. It winds up over the ridge. Should connect back to the highway in about 20-30 miles. I can't recommend it. It's not on the state maps. But it's your only option if you're not turning back. Arthur, weighing the 50 miles of retreat against the unknown, nodded. I'll take it. The trooper just looked at him. Good luck. And watch yourself. There's no cell service out here. None. The turn onto gravelly trace was less a road and more a suggestion. The pavement dissolved into mud and gravel almost immediately. His sedan, built for city commutes, struggled as the path climbed sharply. Branches, heavy with rain, clawed at his windows, the sound like fingernails scraping glass. The storm was muffled here, under the dense canopy, but the road was treacherous, a river of dark, churning mud. His GPS screen went blank. Signal lost, it declared, before fading to black. He was alone. The car's clock read 11:17 p.m. when the engine sputtered, coughed, and died. The dashboard lights flickered and then extinguished, plunging him into an absolute, suffocating darkness. The rain had stopped. The sudden silence was deafening. He tried the ignition. A click. Nothing. Again. A weak, grinding noise. Panic, cold and sharp, seized him. He was stranded, on a road that didn't exist, with no signal and a dead car. He sat for a minute, his breathing ragged. He was about to slam his fist against the steering wheel when he saw it. Through the trees, far below him in a valley he hadn't known was there, he saw a light. Not a single porch light, but a small, warm cluster. A town. Relief washed over him, so potent it made him dizzy. He hadn't seen another light for hours. He grabbed his jacket and a weak flashlight, stepped out into the mud, and began the long, treacherous walk downhill, toward the impossible glow. It took him nearly an hour to navigate the slick, treacherous decline. He emerged from the woods onto a paved road. Not a highway, but a perfectly maintained main street, lined with streetlights that cast a soft, amber glow. The town was pristine. The architecture was frozen in time, a 5-dime store with a gleaming chrome facade, a gas station with old-fashioned rounded pumps, a movie theater whose marquee was blank. It was the 1950s, preserved in amber. But it wasn't a ghost town. It was immaculate. There was no dust, no decay. The brass door handles on the shops were polished. And it was utterly, profoundly silent. No cars. No voices. No distant hum of electricity. He walked down the center of the street, his footsteps echoing like gunshots. He was standing in front of a building marked, Providence Inn, when a shadow detached itself from a nearby doorway. A woman stepped into the light. She was older, perhaps in her late 60s, her gray hair pulled into a severe bun. She wore a simple, functional dress that seemed decades out of style. She held no weapon, but her posture was rigid. "You're late," she said. Her voice was clear, without surprise. Arthur stammered. My car broke down. Up on the trace. I saw the lights." The woman simply nodded, as if this were the most common-sense explanation in the world. "The storm brings visitors," she said, more to herself than to him. "You'll need a room. I am Elara. This is my inn." She didn't ask for his name. She didn't ask what he was doing there. She simply held the door open. The lobby was warm, lit by gas lamps, the air smelling of wood smoke and beeswax. Where am I?" Arthur finally asked, stepping inside. Elara paused, her hand on the door. "You are where you needed to be," she said. "You are in Providence." The next morning, Arthur awoke to the smell of coffee and frying bacon. He found his way to a communal dining room. Several other residents were there, eating in near total silence. They nodded at him, polite but distant. They were dressed like Elara, in simple, homespun clothes. He tried to make conversation with a man reading a physical newspaper. "My car," Arthur said. "It's stuck up on the ridge." The man looked up, his eyes clear and calm. "It will be tended to," he said, and returned to his paper. Arthur felt a growing unease. He pulled out his phone. No signal, of course. He clicked the camera icon. The phone, which had been at 40%, died instantly. He plugged it into a nearby wall socket. The socket was fake, a mere plastic plate. He realized the lights were gas. The heat was from a radiator. There was no electricity. No power, no provision for power. Elara entered, carrying a pot of coffee. "Elara," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. "This town, it's not on my map. I have a GPS, it showed nothing." She filled his cup, her hand perfectly steady. "We find maps to be unreliable," she said. "They focus on the wrong things." "More coffee?" How does all this work?" "The gas station, the food. We are self-sufficient," she said simply. "We have what we need." He spent the day walking the town. It was larger than he thought, nestled deep in the valley. He saw farms, a blacksmith, a tailor. He saw no cars. No tractors. Just horse-drawn plows. He saw no telephone poles. He saw no children. The residents were polite, but impenetrable. When he asked questions about the outside world, they would smile, offer him a fresh apple, and change the subject. They spoke of the harvest, of the coming winter, of the town's founding. They were a community united by a single, unspoken agreement: the 21st century did not exist. What did you think of Arthur's discovery? It's unsettling, finding a place that has actively chosen to be lost. What would be your first reaction to a town like Providence? We're curious to know your thoughts on what you've seen so far. That evening, Arthur found himself on the edge of town, near a small, wooded creek. He found someone his own age. A young man, perhaps in his early 20s, skillfully sharpening an axe. His name was Silas. Unlike the others, Silas's eyes held a spark of curiosity. He looked at Arthur's modern, synthetic jacket with obvious interest. You're from outside, Silas said, not a question, but a statement. Yes, Arthur said. From far away, I guess. Silas tested the blade with his thumb. I've read about it. The outside. Read? In books? The Founder's Library. Old books. From before. Silas looked around, ensuring they were alone. He lowered his voice. I have a thing. A music box. He pulled a small, damaged object from his pocket. It was an old, battery-powered transistor radio. It barely works, Silas whispered, his voice alive with a secret energy. The batteries are almost dead. But sometimes. I can hear the static. I can hear noise. From outside. He looked at Arthur, his gaze intense. Is it true? That men have walked on the moon? That you can talk to someone across the world, through the air? Arthur, stunned, found himself explaining the internet. He spoke of skyscrapers, of airplanes, of a world connected by invisible information. As he spoke, Silas's expression shifted from wonder to something else. A deep, profound hunger. Arthur realized the danger of his words. This wasn't a history lesson. This was temptation. This was poison. He wasn't just a guest in this town, he was a contaminant. He was a threat to the delicate, impossible ecosystem they had built. The founders had created a sanctuary, but for a generation born inside it, it was a cage. He realized, with a chill, why Alara had been so calm. She hadn't been worried about him. She was worried about this. The infection of ideas. Thank you for staying with us. We know this story asks a lot of questions, and we appreciate you seeing it through. The best, and most complicated part, is yet to come. The next morning, Alara found him on the porch. The ridge road is clear, she said. The storm has passed. It is safe for you to leave. I don't know if I can, Arthur said. My car. Your car has been tended to, she said. It is waiting for you, where the trace meets the town road. It is, fueled. They had fixed it. They had fueled it. They wanted him gone. He packed his small bag in silence. He walked to the edge of town. His sedan sat waiting, gleaming, cleaner than he'd left it. The keys were in the ignition. He turned back to Alara, who had walked with him. How, he asked. How do you stay, hidden? We are not hidden, Alara said, her gaze fixed on the mountains. We are simply, separate. The world moved on, Mr. Vance. It raced so fast, it forgot to look in the valleys. We chose not to follow. But, the world will find you. Someone else will take that road. Perhaps, she said. And we will offer them coffee, and fix their car, and send them on their way. Most people are so busy running towards something, they don't even see what they've found. She looked at him then, her eyes locking onto his. They were not unkind, but they held the weight of an iron certainty. Forget us, Arthur, she said. It was not a threat. It was not a request. It was an instruction. A plea. It is a small thing for you, but it is everything for us. Arthur got in the car. It started instantly, the engine purring. He drove away, not looking in his rearview mirror. 10 minutes later, his GPS flickered to life. The blue dot showed his car, surrounded by a vast, empty green expanse of national forest. There was no town. There was no road. According to the map, he was in the middle of nowhere. He pulled over onto the highway, his hands shaking. He was left with an impossible story. A story no one would ever believe. And he was left with a heavy, moral burden. Does he have the right to expose them? To bring the noise and the chaos of the 21st century crashing down on their impossible sanctuary? Or does he have a duty to honor the secret of the town that doesn't exist? Arthur Vance's story is one of impossible choices. What is true Providence? Is it a sanctuary, or is it a prison? And did he have the right to even be there? We want to hear your opinion on this. What would you have done in his place? What do you think he should do now? If you enjoy stories that explore the hidden corners of the open road, and the choices that define us, please subscribe to Backpacker Stories. Turn on the bell so you never miss a journey. And be sure to check out our next recommended story, waiting for you right now.